But it's amazing the number of people who are in need. It's almost overwhelming. The people who require a meal to get them through the day. They also do backpacks for homeless people. And in these backpacks, and you can only come to the center every 2 weeks. You can't come every day. You have to come every 2 weeks. And so they would load things up in these backpacks, and the most that they can put in a backpack will last them maybe 3 or 4 days. And so they would ask the people, how do you survive the rest of the time? And they said, well, you got to kind of scrounge around, and they look through trash cans and so they would ask, how come you don't go to soup kitchens or to shelters? And they said they're afraid to go into those places because they're uncertain of who the people will be, and probably safe enough, but they feel uncomfortable and unsafe in those places. So they live out on the street, you can see them on the sides of our roads. And to be in that center, helping sort all of this material out, you get a sense of how overwhelming this can be. But you do it. You do what you can to not so much that you can make a difference, but that it needs to be done. Whatever you can do needs to be done. Whether it's to shake a blanket at some burning building many miles away, or to participate in activity that you would like to have done under these circumstances. You do what's necessary. You do what you can. In Jodo Shinshu, we're considered bombu, foolish beings. And we're constantly, because of as a foolish being, constantly in that kind of a situation where our capacity to attain enlightenment is simply not there. And Buddhism, of course, is the movement from unenlightenment to enlightenment. That's what Buddhism is about, moving from unenlightenment to enlightenment. And our capacity to attain enlightenment is simply not there. And yet we are engaged in activities that that for us are meaningful, that have significance and importance in our life. And I think not all the time, certainly not all the time. We don't carry with us in every moment of our lives the awareness of the importance of the Nembutsu. And yet when we are mindful in those times in which we think about our circumstances, we are mindful of the Dharma, and the meaning that it brings into our life can be powerful, can be significant. This Myokonin who shook that wet blanket in the direction of the temple, really it didn't do anything. It really didn't mean anything to anyone else except his understanding of his own limitations, his inability to do something that would practically resolve the situation, but yet had meaning in his expression of that concern through activity. I think Jodo Shinshu often is very difficult to understand or to get a grasp of. It's so simple to get a grasp of because it is so simple. The activity that we're engaged in is the movement to enlightenment, from unenlightenment to enlightenment. We expect it to be complex and difficult. We have ideas of what we should do or what we cannot do, and yet we are told that it is simply through the act of Nembutsu that we are able to attain enlightenment. The shaking of this wet blanket in the direction of the Honzan is meaningless. The recitation of the Nembutsu's sequence of syllables is meaningless unless we put from our life we put a significance and meaning and attach it to that simple act of shaking the blanket or reciting the Nembutsu. And Buddhism, this movement from unenlightenment to enlightenment, there are many different ways of attaining or achieving enlightenment, approaching enlightenment. For us in Jodo Shinshu, we understand that as simple as it might be, as incomprehensible as it may be, it is the vow of Amida Buddha that affirms and assures us of the eventual experience of enlightenment. Okay, you've had plenty of time. Are there any questions? Yes?
Can you be enlightened just for a short time?
Can you be enlightened for a short time and have it dissipate? I think so. I think, well, enlightenment is not somewhere else. It's not something else. It's a way of understanding what we experience. And the only separation between enlightenment and ourselves, the unenlightened beings, is this inability to perceive things as they are. So you're never separated from it. You're never apart from enlightenment. And enlightenment is kind of like thought of as some goal, but I think enlightenment is simply, the ability to see things as they are. Our own needs, expectations interfere with our perception of reality. So we're going back and forth, I think, between enlightenment and unenlightenment. But our ability to understand that prevents us from fully appreciating, experiencing that enlightenment.